On February 13, 2026, the Washington Post published a headline: "The United States Navy did not want outside a Senate hearing room." Its exact confirmed words. The USS Gerald R. deployed since June, will cross the Atlantic for a second time, despite a Navy warning that the warship needs maintenance. Not a suggestion that maintenance would be preferable. A warning, the Navy's own institutional warning, is confirmed by named national security reporters at the Washington Post, that the fort needed maintenance before being sent anywhere near a conflict. 3 weeks after that warning was published, on March 1, 2026, official United States Department of Defense photographs showed an EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft launching from the USS Gerald R. Ford's flight deck in support of Operation Epic Fury against Iran. Carrier was in the eastern Mediterranean. It was conducting combat operations. It was doing exactly what the Navy warned it was not ready to do in optimal condition. On March 6, 2026, Vice Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Jim Kilby, sat before the Senate Armed Services Committee's Subcommittee on Readiness and Management, support, and delivered the most consequential on-record congressional testimony about carrier readiness to emerge from this conflict. His confirmed exact words, reported by USNI News, that extension will ultimately be about an 11-month deployment. So, there will be an impact on her return and the schedule for her maintenance. Availability, so she is ready to go again. He then added, "The good part about our public shipyards is they are adjusting that schedule. They are ready to bring our carrier back and maintain her." 3 sentences, confirmed under oath, that tell you precisely what the Navy knows about the cost of this deployment and what it is doing about it after the fact. The USS Gerald R. departed Norfolk, Virginia on June 24, 2025. Its planned deployment was 7 months, the Navy's standard duration under the Optimized Fleet Response Plan, the scheduling framework the Navy uses to rotate carriers between deployment, training, and maintenance phases to preserve long-term fleet readiness. 7 months from June 24, 2025 is January 24, 2026. The Ford did not return home on January 24th. It was operating in the Caribbean Sea under U.S. Southern Command, supporting the operation that resulted in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in January 2026, confirmed by Defense Security Asia in 1945 in their respective analysis of the Ford's deployment history. That first extension pushed the Ford past its planned 7-month window before the Iran crisis had even reached its decisive phase. By mid-February 2026, Defense Security Asia confirmed the Ford had accumulated 241 days at sea. 241 days is approximately 8 months. The Ford was already 1 month past its planned deployment window when the Defense Department tasked it to the Middle East in mid-February. According to the Washington Post, February 13th reporting, Trump stated publicly on February 19th that decisions regarding potential military strikes on Iran could be made within days. That statement was driving force posture decisions across the entire CENTCOM theater simultaneously. 1945 confirmed that by the time the Iran war began on February 28th, the Ford's deployment length ranked as the 3rd longest deployment of any United States aircraft carrier in the history of the Navy. The USS Nimitz holds the record at 321 days from 2020 to 2021. The USS Abraham Lincoln holds the 2nd longest at 295 days. The Ford, at 241 days before the Iran war started and still counting, was already inside that historic territory when it was ordered into combat. USNI News Fleet Tracker confirmed the Ford transited the Suez Canal on March 5th, accompanied by the guided missile destroyer USS Bainbridge, confirmed its position in the Red Sea on March 6th, the same day. Admiral Kilby testified about its maintenance status before the Senate Armed Services Committee. The Optimized Fleet Response Plan that the Navy uses to manage carrier readiness operates on a 27-month cycle. In that cycle, a carrier deploys for 7 months, returns, undergoes a maintenance availability period, trains, and rebuilds to deployment readiness before the next cycle begins. The maintenance availability period is not optional maintenance. It is the scheduled engineering and systems work that the Navy's own planning framework identifies as necessary for the carrier to remain fully capable through its next deployment cycle. When the Ford's 7-month deployment became an 8-month deployment, then a 9-month deployment, is now confirmed by Admiral Kilby as an 11-month deployment. The maintenance availability period that was planned for early 2026 did not happen. The Eurasian Times confirmed that the Ford was due for a major maintenance and refitting period at Newport News Naval Shipyard early in 2026, and that the extension means that scheduled work is now delayed. Admiral Kilby's Senate testimony described the consequence directly, impact on her maintenance availability, so she is ready to go again, with Newport News reorganizing its own maintenance queue around the Ford's extended deployment rather than the Ford returning on schedule for its planned work. Delayed scheduled maintenance on a carrier whose primary extinguishing systems are electromagnetic rather than mechanical raises a specific question, not about whether the Ford is currently operational, which the Navy has confirmed it is, but about the trajectory of those systems over weeks and months of continued high-tempo operations past their planned service interval. The Ford is the only United States carrier equipped with the electromagnetic aircraft launch system, known as EMALS, which replaces the steam-powered catapult technology used on all Nimitz-class carriers, including the USS Abraham Lincoln. EMALS uses electromagnetic motors to accelerate aircraft down the flight deck for launch, delivering as Army Recognition Group confirmed in its analysis of the Ford's combat operations. Smoother, digitally controlled launches intended to reduce stress on aircraft airframes and broaden the launch envelope across a wider range of aircraft weights and configurations. The Advanced Arresting Gear, known as AAG, handles aircraft recovery using electromagnetic systems rather than the hydraulic cross-deck pendants used on Nimitz-class carriers. The 11 advanced weapons elevators move ordnance from the ship's magazines to the flight deck at 150 feet per minute, each capable of carrying up to 24,000 pounds of ordnance. It's confirmed by Stars and Stripes on March 2, 2026. In design terms, Army Recognition confirmed the Ford aims for approximately 160 sorties per day with higher surge potential, compared to the Nimitz classes, approximately 120 sorties per day under normal operations. CSI has confirmed that the combined Lincoln and Ford strike groups struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions in the first 100 hours of Operation Epic Fury. Military.com confirmed that the Ford's extended deployment offers a sustained real-world operational test of its MELs and AAG design, and that officials stated the ship remains fully mission-capable. That confirmation is accurate for the current moment. The question the maintenance data raises is about the trajectory of that operational status over the weeks and months. The Iran conflict may require the carrier to remain on station, not its current confirmed status. MELs, AAG, and the 11 advanced weapons elevators are the systems that justify the Ford's $13.3 billion price tag. They are also the systems with the longest and most complex maintenance history of any technology ever deployed on an American carrier, operating them beyond their planned service interval before the engineering work that preserves their calibration, component integrity, fault tolerance is completed, is what Admiral Kilby confirmed will impact the carrier's maintenance availability for the next readiness cycle. On March 2, 2026, Stars and Stripes published a statement from Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Caudle addressing the Ford's condition directly. His confirmed words: "Our sailors understand the importance of their service. Well, they are away from home longer than planned because the nation needs them forward and ready. I want them to take great pride in that calling." That statement acknowledges the extended deployment explicitly and confirms that it exceeds the planned timeline. In the same Stars and Stripes report, Navy service officials gave specific assurances that the ship's Sewage and water purification systems were running within normal parameters. The problems were quickly fixed. Efforts to improve morale and ensure sailors could stay connected to family included expanded internet availability. Came to the Navy's official March 2nd communications about the Ford's condition specifically, addressed sewage systems and water purification in the first public statement about the carrier's readiness is a data point that requires no interpretation. When a military institution's senior leadership publicly confirms that sewage systems are running within normal parameters, it confirms that sewage systems were sufficiently abnormal to require a public statement. 1945 confirmed in its analysis that the Ford has been experiencing issues related to plumbing and clogged pipes, and noted that these may seem like minor problems, but can have cascading effects on crew morale and readiness. A carrier with approximately 4,500 sailors living aboard for 241 plus days, conducting high-tempo combat operations, with plumbing systems operating under the kind of stress that required the Chief of Naval Operations to address them by name in a public readiness statement. It's a carrier with a maintenance debt that Admiral Kilby confirmed in Senate testimony is manifesting in the physical systems that keep 4,500 people alive and operational at sea. 1945's analysis of the Ford's readiness condition, published in February 2026 under the headline Unsustainable Strain, confirmed a framework for understanding what extended deployments do to carriers of this complexity. The analysis confirms that extended operations build what it calls readiness, debt, accelerating deck, and airwing wear, intensifying crew fatigue, and increasing mishap risk. It confirms that a double pump deployment, deploying a carrier twice without the planned maintenance interval between deployments, erodes surge capacity. It confirms that already strained U.S. naval shipyards could be overwhelmed by the maintenance bottleneck. An 11-month deployment of the most technically complex carrier ever built creates, when it eventually returns to Newport News, specifically flagged that the Ford's deployment ranked as the third longest of any U.S. aircraft carrier in Navy history at the time of its analysis. The carrier is still at sea, and that record is still being extended. Every day, the Ford operates in the Red Sea from its confirmed March 6 position is another day added to a deployment that already exceeded its planned duration before the Iran war began. The sailors maintaining the Ford's emails launch motors, calibrating the AAG recovery systems, and operating the 11 advanced weapons elevators through round-the-clock combat sorties are doing so in month 9, 10, and 11 of a deployment planned for 7 months in a combat theater with no confirmed rotation date. 3 publicly trackable indicators will signal whether the Ford's maintenance condition is becoming an operational constraint on its combat effectiveness, or whether the Navy's confirmed assurances of full mission capability reflected genuine systems margin that the deployment extension has not yet exhausted. The first indicator is the Ford's confirmed sortie generation rate as reported in CENTCOM operational updates. The Navy confirmed a design capacity of approximately 160 sorties per day for the Ford class. If the Ford's contribution to operational tempo is publicly reported in subsequent CENTCOM updates at a level consistent with that design capacity, it confirms that EMLs and AAG are performing at design specification despite the extended deployment. If CENTCOM's operational reporting shifts to describing the Ford's role in terms suggesting reduced sortie intensity compared to the Lincoln's Arabian Sea contribution, it may signal that the maintenance condition is affecting practical sortie generation. The second indicator is Newport News Naval Shipyard's confirmed public statements about the Ford's maintenance scheduling. Admiral Kilby confirmed under oath that Newport News is adjusting its schedule to accommodate the Ford's extended return timeline. Newport News is a public institution subject to congressional oversight and Navy public affairs reporting. If the shipyard's adjusted schedule produces any public confirmation of the specific systems work that was planned for early 2026 and is now deferred, it will be the first public documentation that specific Ford systems have accumulated maintenance debt beyond their planned service intervals. The third indicator is whether the USS George H.W. Bush deployment orders confirmed as circulating by Maritime Executive on March 6 are officially confirmed by the Navy. A third carrier in the theater changes the operational geometry for the Ford specifically. If the Bush is confirmed and deployed to the region, it becomes operationally possible for the Ford to rotate out of the theater for a maintenance period at a naval facility with the capability to address whatever systems work has accumulated during its 11-month deployment, while the Lincoln and Bush maintain continuous carrier coverage. If the Bush is not deployed, and the Ford is the only carrier available to cover the Red Sea approach, the maintenance debt that Admiral Kilby confirmed will continue to accumulate for every additional day the Iran conflict requires the carrier's presence. It's a confirmed record, assembled from named sources with named publication dates, produces a specific and precise picture. The Ford departed Norfolk on June 24, 2025 for a 7-month deployment. The Washington Post confirmed on February 13, 2026, that it was sent to the Middle East despite the Navy's own warning that it needed maintenance. In the Post's exact confirmed words, Admiral Jim Kilby confirmed under oath on March 6, 2026, reported by USNI News, that the deployment will ultimately be 11 months and will impact its maintenance availability for the next readiness cycle. In his exact confirmed words, CNO Admiral Caudle confirmed on March 2nd via Stars and Stripes that sailors are away from home longer than planned because the nation needs them forward and ready. In his exact confirmed words, the Navy's official March 2nd statement specifically addressed sewage and water purification systems by name. 1945 confirmed the Ford's deployment ranks third longest in American carrier history. Newport News, Naval Shipyard confirmed it is adjusting its schedule to accommodate the carrier's return because the maintenance window of the ship was supposed to occupy in early 2026 is now deferred. The Navy has confirmed the Ford is fully mission capable as of March 6th. Admiral Kilby has confirmed there will be an impact on her maintenance availability, so she is ready to go again. Both statements are confirmed. They are not contradictory. They describe the present operational status and the future cost of that present status simultaneously. The Ford is the most technically complex carrier ever built, operating in a combat theater on month 9 of a deployment planned for 7 months. It's carrying a maintenance debt that the Navy's own Vice Chief of Naval Operations confirmed under oath to the United States Senate, one sortie at a time in the Red Sea, with no confirmed end date for the conflict that put it there.